Hey everybody, welcome to Tuesday. And I am trying once again a new format. And if this works, I will think up other questions for Twitter because Twitter Tuesdays has a nice ring to it as well. I started having this dialogue with the self, adding other people about words that no longer have any concrete meanings. And you guys know this drives me nuts. I will self-define terms I find the dictionary definition does not properly define. I like definitions that can be tested, right? And there are so many words now that have connotations and metaphysical impacts, but no actual denotation in terms of inherent meaning. And this drives me crazy. And so I started making a list that I wrote on a Post-it note of words to me no longer have any meaning. And then I put it up on Twitter so that you guys could share. And I'm going to read my suggestions and then your responses from Twitter. If you like this content, help support this channel, become a monthly patron, patreon.com/Leanna K for monthly support, and donate a Leanna Care session to somebody who really could use it but can't afford it. Coffee.com/Leanna K. You guys have been crazy good generous on both fronts lately. Let's keep it going. Okay, so my words on my Post-it note were woke was the first one. It was the one that started the whole thing because I realized weeks ago I use that word ironically, and yet I'm not even using it the way I understand it to mean. It doesn't have any meaning. It's an implied meaning. It's connotative. It doesn't mean anything. Mary Sue is another one. The meaning of that word has shifted so badly. I don't know what it means anymore. Critical race theory is another one for me that just no actual meaning anymore. Just anything that may make someone feel a feel. And that's on both political extremes. Too many leftists assign the critical race theory moniker to things that aren't actually it, and that's been part of the problem because once the left started doing it, then the right started weaponizing it because that's what the right does. Dear lefties, don't fuck up so much. Problematic used to mean something when I was back in university. Problematic was a word reserved for things that could possibly cause a problem, but you can't prove causation. So you don't say it's a problem, you say problematic. Problematic is now just a weasel word for I think this is a problem. So there used to be a use for that word. There isn't anywhere. Hello, Momo. SJW is another one. I mean, okay, SJW is Solomon Justice Walker in my world, but the standard SJW thing, I don't know if it ever had a concrete meaning. It certainly doesn't now. Same with Nazi. That's when I have to actively work for it to not bother me, the overuse of that word, because it used to really bother me. And now I have become numb. The other one, this one's not that important, but it drives me insane. I feel followed by anything that's not a feeling. What you really mean is I think, but you're not willing to be judged by your thoughts because thoughts can be argued. So you say I feel because people are supposed to validate your feelings, even though the next thing that comes out of your mouth isn't a feeling, it's a thought. Drives me insane. And the one, I'm still working on this one. It's a process. I'm a work in progress. Grooming. People just toss it around way too casually. And a lot of people agreed with me on some of these words. You will hear duplication because this got so big that there's a lot of duplication. I lost track. I was trying to make a list and then there were so many. This was one of these tweets that break the ratio because I got a lot more comments and likes on this. So one person said expatriate. I'm sure at one point it had a distinction from immigrant. Limited government was another one. Somebody else put a whole list. Pedo, grooming, Nazi, misogynist, racist, problematic, sexualization, objectification, liberal, conservative. So you see a lot of overlap on the words I chose with that as well. SJW, anti-SJW, woke. Another vote for woke. Toxic, problematic, Racist Nazi groomer, pedo, freedom and violence, misogyny, imperialism, transphobia, privilege. People keep saying the fact is when in reality they are describing evidence to back up a fact. I love that one. Freedom, especially since it gets tossed around by people who treat others as second-class citizens. Triggered and unconstitutional, for sure. More of a phrase for these, but also virtue signaling and straw man. Straw man actually is misused a lot. I have tried to watch that one myself because, yes, I have noticed that as well. Woke, racist, sexist, misogynist, alt-right, white supremacist, bigot, etc. Propaganda, trigger, trauma, and literally communist or socialist. It used to mean someone who ascribes to the view of communism or socialism, but now people seem to think it means people who fight for higher pay at their jobs or people who don't believe in working themselves to the bone every day. Another vote for freedom. Another vote for violence. One person said, words themselves has lost meaning as most people tend to surrender to shorthand and abbreviations. I think it's the de-evolution of humanity, IMHO. And I just chuckled at that because shorthanded abbreviations, and then they wouldn't write, in my humble opinion. But that's okay. That's okay. It's not a contradiction because they said most people tend to surrender to shorthand abbreviations. Metaverse, I love that one. Based and cringe. I should have thought of cringe because cringe drives me crazy. I love this one. Honor, loyalty, and respect. It's true. Someone thought outside the box and said fulsome. Controversial. Another person said yes. Somebody else said all words. Someone else said damn. A vote for oppression. I see this thrown around a lot by people who aren't even remotely oppressed, and I should have got that one because it's Social Justice Warriors tagline. It's just a game, someone said. Another vote for woke socialist. This one was a punch in the gut, but it's true. Gaslight and dog whistle. Yeah, gaslight is an overused term, even though it's a real thing. Common sense, someone else said. Momo, you unplugged my microphone. Okay. Cat is editing. Okay. Emotional labor. It's too often used to mean plain old labor that as a woman is expected to do because she's a woman, which is a problem, but it's not emotional labor. I'm going to have to think on that one. Another vote for literally. Sane conservatives, someone said. Ouch. Ouch. I know some sane conservatives. I don't know how to feel about that one, but it's true. Any of the isms that are redefined as prejudice plus power. Privilege, woke, socialist, libertarian. Libertarian is one that stings me because people are often surprised to hear that I do identify as left-wing libertarian, but I'm quiet about both because both are sort of associated with the cray-cray these days. But yeah. Oh, and spiritual. That doesn't seem to have meant much in a long time. I am sorry, one person said. Ow. Probably true. Racist, homophobe, groomer. There are more. Literally. Another vote for literally. Any ism or phobic. Okay. Very sadly, and you may agree. Okay. Every term related to identity politics. That's actually probably a great summary for the whole thing. Anything related to identity politics. Yes. No meaning. Another vote for literally. Another vote for woke. Another vote for honor, dignity, and respect. Anyone who promises to give you those thinks that you don't have any. It's free to hang out, though, like compliments. Might as well add in thoughts and prayers, too. Thank you, commenter. The thoughts and prayers one bothers me. Indie is another word that people said has no meaning anymore. And it's true. I'm a teacher. The word anxiety has been abused by so many of my students to try and get out of presentations. It's become ridiculous. They seem to think it means feeling of discomfort. And I actually responded to that one and said, there's been a real blurring of temporary anxiety and anxiety disorder, hasn't there? And it's interesting because that was one of the things Betty Friedan talked about in The Feminine Mystique, that treating anxiety as an inherently bad thing actually kept people, in her case, women at college, stunted. That if you're not able to distinguish between anxiety that is just the reality of encountering new and novel things versus an anxiety disorder that, is something that's probably not good to live with, you cut yourself off from growth. And the fact that this is something she identified in the 60s and we're right back there is cause for concern. Another vote for any word that ends in ism. Democracy, justice, rule of law. Diversity has become one for me. Not the idea itself. Just notice this weird trend where it seems to become a marketing trend that anything has to be described as diverse when talking about the property. Any ist or ism, because they're overused and it's led to boy who cried wolf situations, unironically needs to go away from the online left for a while. Freedom, expert, truth, research, Karen. Interesting. Okay. All of them. Everything is subjective now, one person said. Woke, SJW, already talked about mansplaining. And incel, I'm surprised it took incel so long to come up. Man and woman, one person said. I will get to that someday. I'm not there yet. Most political alignments, communist, socialist, libertarian, liberal, conservative, these 5 in particular are wielded more as bland insults than anything. Fascist, Nazi to a section of left, what commie is to the far right. Pedo, incel, groomer, simp. Oh, okay. They asterisked a word and I don't know what they're referring to. It's basically anything that's a gotcha in culture war BS. And I do think that the people who identified it as anything to do with identity politics and then some extras, but the fact that this took off so much and I've spent about 10 minutes just reading comments, and it's not even Feedback Friday, says there's something here. And I do think that the path to actual consensus, the path to solutions begins with words that have meanings. Now, thinkers throughout history have warned us that when words stop having inherent meanings, various propagandistic bodies actually get more control over our thinking. And this is part of the reason I did this. Because if people are flinging words around just based on emotional charges, reactance, and avoidance, then those are the words that control our behaviors. And those are the words that we need to stick a pin in and really think through. And that's why I made this video. So if you like this sort of content, just as a conversation starter and sort of a thought-provoking thing and a bit of a vent. Let's face it, it's a bit of a vent. Help support this channel. Become a monthly patron. Patreon.com/LeannaK, or buy a Leanna Care session on Coffee for someone who can use it but can't afford it. Coffee.com/LeannaK. And please give me your suggestions for future Have Your Say videos like this. Twitter Tuesdays, maybe Tweet Tuesdays. What are some other topics you would like to see brainstormed in this regard? Because this was kind of fun. It tackled a not fun thing in a fun way. So let me know what other topics you'd like to see tackled this way. Thanks for watching.